item on the lineup is discussion segments, and we will be having the likes of Liberos Oshoma and Banky W to give their presentation on the topic INEC'S Transparency and Independence, the Way Forward. So before we bring on our guests, we are going to have Olubankole Wellington, or popularly known as Banky W. Let me quickly read his bio to you all before he comes on. So Olubankole Wellington, also known as Banky W, is a Nigerian singer, rapper, actor, entrepreneur, and politician. Born March 27th in the United States to Nigerian parents, he returned to Nigeria at the age of 5 and began singing in church. Educated in Lagos and New York's Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute on a scholarship, he founded the record label Empire Mates Entertainment in 2002. And in 2009, Banky W moved back to Nigeria and established his label in Lagos, signing artists like Wizkid. And he released his debut album, Back in the Building, in 2005, including the hit single Ebute Meta. And apart from music, he entered politics, running for the Lagos Etiosa federal constituency seat in 2018, then again in 2023 under the People's Democratic Party, but lost to the Labour Party candidate. And despite the setback, Banky W expressed gratitude for the achievements made during the campaign. And in 2017, he married Adesua Etomi, and the couple welcomed their son in early 2021. Now, Banky W's journey has been marked by remarkable accomplishments in both the music industry and the political landscape, demonstrating his versatility and determination to make a positive impact on the society. Please welcome Olubankole Wellington, popularly called Banky W. And he joins us via online. Please put your hands together for him.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be here. I hope you can hear me clearly. I don't know. Can I get some feedback? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. It is truly a pleasure and a privilege to join you this evening. I want to especially recognize Pastor Adebayo. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being very patient with me. We've been speaking on and off for a few months to make sure that today could happen. And I really apologize. I sincerely apologize that I couldn't be there in person. But I happen to have so many things going on right now that I asked if virtual was an option, and he graciously gave me that option. So thank you for allowing me to be here to share some thoughts. I listened very intently to Pastor Adebayo and Pastor Femi, and they both spoke very well. In fact, honestly, I feel like we can close this conference now, because I think that some of the thoughts I'm sorry, I think I got cut off. Hopefully you can still hear me. But if we never move beyond just talking about the problems that we have, whether to God or to ourselves, if we never move past talking about it to actually doing something about it, then we'll never eventually see the kind of country that we want to see. So for me, I think the key I'm getting a lot of echoes. Hopefully you guys can still hear me clearly. I think the key is moving beyond the point of just having conversations, and conversations are good, but moving to the point of action. Now, I've personally been a part of more peaceful protests than just about anybody that I know in my peer group, going back the 15 or so years that I've been relevant in entertainment in Nigeria, everything from Enough is Enough to Light Up Nigeria to Bring Back Our Girls, the most recent being EndSARS, to all of the kind of citizen-led protest movements that we've had over the years. And while those are things that I was very proud to participate in, and they brought a level of awareness that I strongly believe that helped the state of things in Nigeria, the reality is that the goal of activism is change, its impact, its improvement. So until we've started to see the kind of change that we seek, then our activism has not yet been completely successful. So we have to begin to move from protest to power. We have to get to the place where like-minded, right-thinking people cross the divide into government at various levels. And Pastor Femi used the word infiltrate government. We have to get to the point where you're infiltrating government at different levels and you're putting right-thinking, like-minded people. That consensus of people is so critical, because at the end of the day, the only Messiah that I know is Jesus Christ. There is no Messiah in politics. There's no one person, not even a president, can come in and change everything from top to bottom. It's just not possible. It can only happen if you get that consensus of people at various levels of government coming in. I'm sorry, I keep getting thrown out of the Zoom. I don't know if it's my connection, but hopefully you can still hear me. So if we as citizens just wait until election day to get involved in the process, then we've already failed. We've already lost the battle. This starts from the ward. It starts from the political parties. It starts from the grassroots. It starts from the ground level. The problems in Nigeria are from the top down, but the solutions are from the bottom up. So we have to build from the bottom. Now, the reality is, and I know there was a question earlier about choosing to infiltrate political parties that exist or choosing to join political parties that exist versus starting a new one. In 2019, I did, start a new one with a friend of mine. It was called Modern Democratic Party, and we built together and we tried and we did the best that we could. We didn't win, but we made enough noise. We disrupted the status quo that it counted for something. But the reality is those structures are incredibly difficult to build. They're incredibly difficult to build. They're also incredibly difficult to hold together, because if you read the laws that govern the creation of political parties, you see that it's not just about creating a political party in your state or whatever town or area or constituency that you're in. That political party has to be a national political party. So you need to have an office in every state of the country first, before anything else. And then there's the whole law about if you happen to not win a seat in that election, then that political party gets deregistered. So that's what happened to us and the majority of political parties in 2018, 2019. We had 96 political parties in Nigeria, which is, pardon my expression, but it's insane. It doesn't make sense. Okay, so the majority of those political parties were deregistered. I personally didn't mind. I know some people were upset, but I didn't mind that they deregistered us because it didn't make sense for all of us to be working in silos. I hope you guys can still hear me. I'm sorry if my network is not cooperating. I hope you can still hear me. And so in 2018, 2019, I looked at the two major political parties that existed and I said, you know what? I felt like in the PDP, I'd be able to stand for the values that I stand for. I'm not there to defend everything wrong that the PDP has ever done. Absolutely not. I'm not there to defend the history. I'm there to reform the future, to redefine the future. I'm there to be the light of the world that Jesus Christ called us to be in whatever field that we're in any organization, in any sector of life that we find ourselves. We're called to be the light of the world. We're called to change things. We're called to shine. The job of light is to dispel darkness, not to run away from it or shy away from it or be frustrated by it and say, oh, nothing can ever change. It has always been bad. Well, it will always be bad unless the light starts to get involved in it. Now, in saying that, I think where we make a mistake is we need to embrace collaboration. The reality, like I said, is that there is no perfect organization. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that if, whether in this church or in any church, in my church, wherever we all worship, there's no perfect church. Once you put a collection of human beings together, you will have some people that are not rowing in the same direction. You have some people that have small brain touch. It's the reality of human beings. The only perfect human that walked the face of this earth is Jesus Christ. Aside from him, everybody else is flawed. The Bible says all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So we need to get off this soapbox mentality that we have and stop expecting perfection from imperfect people and say, okay, yes, we're all imperfect, but the same way we do in church, the same way we do in companies, guys, the same way we do in our families. Every family has one or two people that they'll call them the black sheep of the family. So you'll never find a perfect collection of people. But if we can flood the system with enough good people, enough right-thinking people, enough people who are children of God, who want to stand for righteousness and justice, who want to speak against oppression, who want to do what would be in the best interest of the country, then that's what we need to find. Those are the people we need to collaborate with. And the truth is, not all of us are called to run for office. So there are some of us who will not ever have the calling or the courage to run for office. And some of us, it's not our job. Not everybody is meant to run for office. But those of us who are not running for office need to find those that we believe in that are, and partner with them to put Nigeria on the path towards growth and development. So we need to embrace collaboration, okay? We also need to embrace early, constant participation. Don't wait. Every election cycle, let me tell you guys a secret. Do you know that INEC opens voter registration almost 2 years before the elections happen? But what we find is the vast majority of people wait until it's a month before registration is closing, a month or two, and then everybody floods at that time trying to register. So we have to understand this thing is not a sprint. It's not a dash. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So you can't jump in at the last minute and say you're going to get involved. It doesn't work like that. We start from the beginning. We start from joining political parties, being involved at the ward level. We build up from there. We start from getting our registration sorted early. We had so many allegations of voters' cards being withheld and people were so frustrated, but they didn't realize that as early as 6 months before registration closed, you could have walked into INEC and walked out in 15 minutes and you would have gotten your registration card. So we need early constant participation. We need to join parties. We need to register to vote. We need to understand that delegates select so that citizens can elect. We must be willing to, until we have systems that are set up to police themselves, we must be willing to police people, police our officers, police our systems. That means watching everything like a hawk. That means involvement from the very get-go until the very end. Election day is not election day. Election day is the beginning of that process. What happens in the 24, 48, 72 hours later is really the key. It's being willing to stay there and watch the counting of the votes and making sure that they've announced every vote, every office that they've counted their votes. So you are there, you are taking it down. So when you see what is announced later, we can immediately flag it and say, no, this is not what happened at my polling unit. So it requires a level of involvement that I'm not sure a lot of us still are aware of what we need, okay? It is a lot easier to participate in a march than it is to participate in an election. Because in a march, you wear your t-shirt, maybe you see it on Twitter, you see a poster on Instagram, you know the date, you wear your t-shirt, you wear your sneakers, you're out the door, you join the people on the streets, you have participated in the march. That's great. But to participate in an election, you have to have signed up to register to vote. You have to have done your biometrics. You have to have gone to pick up your card. You have to show up and wait in line on election day. And God help us if we're in some of those places where INEC doesn't show up to count the votes on election day. So you are there all day. Maybe they come later or they don't come at all. So it's that sustained commitment to the process of nation building that we need. And the church has a responsibility to rise up to righting the wrongs in this country, to changing the narrative in this country. The church is probably the one organization in Nigeria that is equipped to do this, but for far too long, we've shied away from that responsibility. We've shied away from that involvement. Lastly, I mean, I know I'm short on time and I don't want to take up everybody else's time. But the other thing is I want to strongly encourage us to pay attention. You know, in a democracy, you are rewarded for your involvement, but you are punished for your ignorance. So when you're not paying attention to what is happening, to who is running, I was speaking with a group of guys. This guy, you know, it was hosted at somebody's house. It was in my constituency, and the guy was clearly a very successful guy. Okay, big house. You know, he had a fellow residents in his neighborhood in this reception that they had in. So I came to see them, and he said, you know, they were asking me questions about the House of Reps, about my plans and my vision and my values, and you know, they're asking, I'm answering. They're asking, answering. They said, you know, we didn't realize you were this well-versed and well-equipped to go into office. I mean, we knew you from entertainment, but this is very impressive. They said, we're very lucky that you came, that if not, we were all just going to go and vote for this party because we like the presidential candidate. And they said, sirs, even if you didn't want to support me, please know who you are voting for. This process of us just blindly putting our fingers somewhere and not even taking a few minutes to Google and look up the candidates for House of Reps, Senate, State House of Assembly, look them up, see what they're saying, see what their manifesto is, watch a clip of an interview, understand that does this person really align with me in my values, in my vision, in my belief in God, my belief in country? Is this person, are we on the same wavelength in terms of our mindsets? So that you know who you are allowing into office, because we run the risk of jumping from frying pan into fire if we're not paying attention to who is running for different offices and we're just blindly putting our hands across the board. At the end of the day, that level of paying attention it requires a commitment from citizens, from the office of the citizen. That's actually the most important office in the country. That office of the citizen, that person who cares enough. You're not running for office, fine, but at least you know who is, and you know which parties, you know, they are in, and you know who you're voting for, and you can encourage other people around you to do the same. Until we learn these lessons, see, we can be praying from now till kingdom come. One thing I've learned about God is that God will always do what only he can do, but he will never do what we are supposed to. So God parted the Red Sea, but Moses, you have to stretch out your hand. Okay, God created the animals, but Adam, you have to name them. God gave David the courage and the strength and the wisdom to take down Goliath, but David had to be willing to sign up for the fight. The entire scripture that we draw faith from is stories of men that chose to partner with God. The problem with us is that we've been delegating our responsibility in this partnership. Regarding politics, we've been delegating our responsibility in this partnership to God for far too long. We're waiting for God to show up. God is waiting for us to stand up. Thank you so much for letting me speak. God bless you. I hope this helped. I'm available for a few more minutes if there are any questions. But thank you very, very much, Pastor Adebayo, and thank you everyone for letting me be a part of the Impact Conference. God bless you.